It is a situation ad absurdum. The Turkish intelligence service is distorting this broadcasting message because it doesn't serve their business. This is a message to the United Nations, United States, and to the European Union. We heard today that the European Union paid 3,700,000,000 euros to Turkey to help its rule in northern Syria and to support refugees inside Turkey. Factually, Turks are not performing a humanitarian role in northern Syria. I hope that the United States, the United Nations, and the EU understand this message. It lies in our interest that this financial help to Turkey stops soon, because they are using this money to help Russia, Iran, and to help their own political projects in northern Syria. They are not helping Syrian refugees. They are not pushing the political process forward. They are just financing crimes against humanity. They are distorting the opposition. They are corrupting the opposition. They are doing everything to stop and to stop the people and make the revolution, Syrian revolution, fail. It's simply because their business and their relation to Iran and Russia is much more important than their relation to the Syrian people and to the Syrian revolution. They have been importing their gas from Iran and their oil from Russia. They have been receiving Russian support in building their nuclear projects and reactors. So they are putting the opposition on the table to perform a Turkish bazaar, nothing more. Billions and billions, time and time again, over and over again, are paid to Turks. What they have done since they interfered in Syria and since we had the resolution 2336. According to the resolution 2254, the Turks are asked to return Syrian refugees to their original sites, to their original villages and towns. That was in the year 2016. In the year 2019, after an ace crime party between in a meeting between Erdogan and Putin, millions became displaced again. And those millions were brought to the north to settle Kurdish houses and to displace Kurdish populations. As you know, according to the Statute of Rome, 1998, according to the ICC statute, displacement of civilians in war times is a war crime. You are financing this. Ladies and gentlemen, meine Damen und Herren, in Germany, in France, in the UK, in the United States, in Canada, in all over the world, you must listen to our voices. We need a real and true guarantor. We don't need fake guarantors and bazaar guarantors. Stop addressing them as a humanitarian team. End their role in Syria. Withdraw the resolution 2336. The resolution 2254 54 says that all parties must respect humanitarian workers and stop attacking civilians and civilian infrastructure. The Russians have been destroying all hospitals in Syria, in northern Syria, and have been coordinating their actions and their missions with Turks, and they said that repeatedly, that they are performing their military missions after consulting Mr. Recep Tayyip Erdogan and through cooperation and coordination with Turkish intelligence services and military observers. They have destroyed all hospitals in northern Syria, and they have been targeting civilian workers, medical teams, doctors, activists became assassinated. On the Turkish-Syrian borders, thousands became killed. Even children became sniped by snipers. Women became raped. Activists are arrested just because they express themselves in Turkey. This is what Turks are and what Turks are about. Stop financing Turkey and withdraw or end the Turkish presence in northern Syria. We don't need fake guarantors. After destroying the hospitals, the Syrian opposition hospitals, injured became moved to Turkey to have treatment there. What they have done? They killed them and sold their organs in their free mafia markets. So many injured people became transferred to Turkey. Their injury were not very dangerous, were not that dangerous. They became killed. They were organs permission and sold their organs after sending them to northern Syria, home, to their people, without consulting their parents or their children and brothers about cutting their organs and selling their organs. As you know, displacement of civilians is a war crime, and you have been financing those actions in northern Syria. Displacement of Kurdish civilians, displacement of Arabic civilians, demographic changes are war crimes. So stop financing them. We don't need Turks in northern Syria. We don't need drugs and drugs farms. We don't need mafia in northern Syria. Before Turks became approved and appointed as guarantors, the revolution and northern Syria was doing much more better than today. I hope you listen to our voices. The United States, Saudi Arabia, and the Arab League must seek an alternate guarantor to the Turkish mafia that has been spreading terror and crimes in northern Syria. And we are at threat, we are endangered, we are jeopardized by this financing action and by the issued UN resolutions giving Turks advantage and privilege to do their business in northern Syria. Historically, Turks are war criminals. They had been committing crimes against Armenians, 1.5 million Armenians, until the year 1915. in the year 1925, as Baron and Kurds rose up in Turkey, Turks killed about 1.5 million Kurdish men in Turkey, and they displaced them to northern Syria, where they are living today, and they are after them. They are arming militias to kill the rest of Kurds. So it's in our interest, it lies in our interest, it lies in the interest of the international community to end the Turkish presence in northern Syria. They have been historically killing Syrians, killing Arabs, killing Kurds, killing Armenians. They are not the humanitarian worker, and they are not the right address to finance humanitarian jobs and UN missions. Mr. Recep Tayyip Erdogan, after the ice cream party, displaced millions of civilians and became an important factor in destroying the village, the whole entire village, entire towns in southern Idlib province. Generally speaking, the countries that have been interfering in Syria are terror militias to fight adversary terror militias. So they are making distinction between friendly terrorism and adversary terrorism. We call on the United Nations to call for a meeting in the Security Council to hear them, to let them speak up and explain what they have been doing in Syria. They claim to be fighting terrorism. Factually, we see them all financing and helping terror. Their distinction, they distinguish between friendly terrorists and adversary terrorists. But terrorism is terrorism. Whatever is it is a terror militia. Why are you helping a terror militia to fight other terror militias? We hope that this message reach to you and you listen to our free voices, and we will meet from time to time to let the United Nations and Security Council know what's going on in northern Syria, and know or give them updates about the resolutions, UN resolutions, and the practices of that resolutions in northern Syria and in all over Syria. Of course, the United Nations know who is Putin, and they know well who is Erdogan, but though they issued the resolution 2336 and approved them as guarantors. They approved the criminal Putin as a guarantor, and his partner, Mr. Recep Tayyip Erdogan, as a guarantor too. We hope that you end this party soon. You close this the Syrian crisis doesn't need Turkey and Russia as guarantors. To write the statute, you don't need 4 years and 5 years to write a statute. They have been founding since 2019. Up to date, they didn't write a single paragraph of that statute because they want to write the statute. They want the crisis to continue, and they want violence to rise up and the situation escalate in order to stay doing their business and receiving international help. and selling Syrian people's organs, killing Syrian activists, controlling the Syrian state and controlling the Syrian opposition. They don't want to write the statute. The points that are not gaining consensus between the opposition committee and the regime committee can be left as an option to the voters, to the people, to vote in a referendum and decide about that disputed points of the statute. But factually they don't want to write that statute. They just want to postpone writing the statute and continue doing their business as guarantors in Syria, stealing Syrian oil, Syrian gas, stealing Syrian archaeological sites, stealing Syrian phosphates, national treasure, killing injured Syrians in Turkish hospitals and selling their organs, making business with Iran, making business with other countries, and doing well on that stage. This message is not my opinion, or my own opinion, it's the opinion of the Syrian people. It's the voice of the Syrian people. Withdraw that criminal regime from northern Syria, the Turkish regime. They play the role of a humanitarian worker, the role of those who want to help Syrians, but they are killing Syrians. They are displacing Syrians. They are blocking the resolution, blocking the solution, and stopping the process, the political process, just doing business between Erdogan and Putin. That is all what it is about. And the international community keeps watching and looking for an alternate leader. We have 2,300 million Syrians. We have a lot of doctors, engineers, we have a lot of politicians, but the international community is still seeking an alternate leader to the Assad, to Assad, Bashar al-Assad. That stupid leader. You didn't find a solution or alternate solution. And so you keep Assad in Damascus, you keep Erdogan in northern Syria, you keep Putin stealing Syrian gas and phosphate, and the crisis continue, and the Syrians are displaced and immigrate to Europe and to the United States, immigrate to Turkey. They are drowning, either drowning in open seas, in wide seas, or killed by gangsters and gangs, Turkish gangs and Greek gangs and so on. I am not expressing myself, I am expressing, I am transmitting the message of the Syrian people. All the people in northern Syria don't like Turkey. They don't want Turkey. They don't like Erdogan. They know that Erdogan is cheating them. They know that Erdogan is stealing them. They know that Erdogan is disorganizing the Syrian opposition, dispersing the Syrian political forces, and just gaining money, getting money from Europe, from Iran, from Russia, from all the parties that are interested about this crisis, and he is doing his bazaar well on the account of the Syrian people. I am not very harmed through the Turkish intervention. There are families who became torn out because of that Turkish intervention. Drugs dealers, merchants, drug farms, gangs, assassinations, selling human organs, castrating the opposition, preventing the statute committee from reaching a settlement in their meetings with a criminal regime committee, which is also administered by the criminal Putin, who has been killing the Ukrainian people. He has been doing in Syria, killing Syria. What a Security Council is that? What a humanitarian job is that? Humanitarian organizations, human rights organizations, we see nothing. We see just criminals are playing on that theater. Thank you for listening. I didn't prepare this message. I didn't write it on papers. Next time I will make it much more clear than saying it so without preparation. الولايات المتحدة لإنهاء الدور التركي في الشمال السوري ولوقف كافة أشكال الدعم لذاك الفاسد التركي. Stop all kind of support to that corrupt Turkish guarantor and end their presence in northern Syria. End their rule as guarantor and withdraw the resolution 2336. We don't need them. They are war criminals. They are partners of Putin and Iran, the headquarters of terror in the Middle East. Thank you for listening. شكرا لاستماعكم. ما حضرنا الرسالة، ما كتبناها على الورق. مرة قادمة راح نكتبها على الورق حتى ننقل رسالة الشعب السوري إلى المجتمع الدولي. بدنا ضامن بديل عن هذا الضامن المخادع الثعلب الماكر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.